Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Talisman Digital Edition. This is a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting this to turn up on the consoles at all. I actually own this on PC with the Season Pass that has everything in it, so seeing it turn up here is a little odd, but we'll go give it a look anyway. The game does have online play, but I haven't actually been able to get into a game just because I haven't had the luck of making a game at the time when anyone wants to join me, so I've literally just been playing 3 offline games, and one of them finished, 2 of them didn't. And the 2 of them that didn't, I have right here. We'll get into that shortly. You do have a profile. When you finish a game, you'll get a bunch of XP towards goals. As you can see here, there's a bunch of stuff here that you can earn. And when you level up, you'll get things called rune stones, which are like little power-ups you can take with you into the game to help you do a little better. You can also come here and check all your different characters, and if you want to stop and see what all these characters bloody do, be my guest, because seriously, the amount of bloody characters there are in this game, and the amount of abilities there are just off the frickin' wall. They included every expansion from like the first 6 expansions, and all the standalone characters they released up to this point, which is bloody great, because it just means that there's a ton of ways to play this game. However, a ton of ways to play this game doesn't mean that the result is always going to be different, and we'll get into that shortly. For now, let's go load into my game. I've got 2 games here. This game up here, the top one, has everything enabled and a bunch of house rules. This one has everything enabled for just the main board alone and a bunch of house rules. So we'll hop straight into the earlier on game, just so I can explain the rules a little bit and show off the game just a little before we get into the game with the massive amount of detail. So I'm just going to roll the dice right away and see what happens. I've got a 5, which means I can move to either that blank space there, into the middle, or onto that space with the character on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance because once my turn's over, the game is going to move really fast and it might be hard to tell what's going on. But I will do my best. So I get a free object, which I get to hang on to, and I end my turn. The genie goes, use fate to re-roll. He moved to the mystic, rolled, and he is now officially evil, and he ends his turn. The ninja, he rolled a 6. Since he has the flying carpet, he can use it to move to any space he wants. He's moved to the city, he's visiting the doctor, and getting his life healed up for gold. The illusionist missed a turn for some reason. I forgot why exactly they missed a turn. The Ogre Chieftain has moved to the city and you discarded the golden statue for some gold, and he's paid to get some lives back as well. And the monk is now moving to he moved to a blank spot, he moved the Grim Reaper onto me, and now I have to deal with the fucking Grim Reaper. Good God, I'm gonna die, aren't I? Discard a random follower or lose a life. Do I have any followers? I've got the 1, but this one I really don't want to lose. Yay! I get to actually gain some stuff. So, that was very confusing, I have to admit. I'm sorry. But I will do my best to explain what the fuck just happened in one moment. I'll give myself some strength. That's probably a good thing. So, Talisman is a conversion of a board game from Games Workshop. And the idea is that that thing in the middle is called the Crown of Command. And we want to get to the Crown of Command in order to, in this case, reveal the ending. Normally, the ending would be revealed right off the bat, but I'm playing with house rules that means the ending isn't revealed until people get there. The problem is that, well, nobody's gotten there yet. It takes a really long time to play a game of Talisman, so I'm just going to roll my dice and make my move while I talk some more. So, the idea is the board is made up of 3 areas. There's the inner bit, the bit in the middle, and the bit around the outside, and you can only get to the bit on the middle from the outside via doing something along the lines of, right, I will take a warlock quest, I will kill one animal. You can get to the middle via doing a few specific things. The thing there that the green guy just landed on is the Sentinel, and the Sentinel is a Strength 9 character, and when there's actual combat, I will be able to tell you what that's like. And if you beat the Sentinel, you can go to the inside, you can build a raft, you can buy a raft, you can be transported into the middle area via any one particular set of things. And it's, yeah, there are a lot of ways to get to the middle, there are a lot of ways to get inside. And once you're inside, you can only move 1 space per turn until you get to the Crown of Command. If you want to get to the Crown of Command and actually be able to do something once you get there, you need what's called a Talisman. That's too strong. I'm not going to be able to beat that. I'm sorry. Whoop, that's the settings menu. I didn't mean to go in there yet. You need a Talisman, and what the Talisman does... Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for the Witch, which is probably gonna screw me. Great, I've lost a life. Brilliant. So, to get to the Crown of Command, you need what's called a Talisman, and Talismans can be earned in a bunch of different ways as well. Like that Warlock quest that I picked up. That's one of the things you can do to get a Talisman. You can also get Talismans by finding them as adventure cards, which you draw by landing on blank spaces. And there are a bunch of other ways, including ways that are added via expansions. And we'll show off what all the expansions are when we load into my second game, which has all the expansions, obviously. So, well, not obviously. I did tell you, so I hope that would be kind of obvious, but at the same time, it might not be obvious if you weren't paying attention. So, there are a bunch of special spaces around the board as well, like the tavern where you have to roll, and like if you get a 6, you can get carried across to the middle, but you might end up losing gold or lives. There's combat and stuff as well. There's spells, and you can use spells at whatever time it says on the cards. And you can have as many spells as your craft will allow. There are rules for this. And this is combat as well. I will explain what combat is now, considering you've seen it a couple of times already, just going by really fast. So, combat is basically, you have 2 stats, your craft and your strength. They're the red and the blue things up in the top left there. Well, up in the top right of the character things, which are on the top left. So, what spaces do I have to move to? I have to, it's either the crags or, what's that? The tavern. I will go to the crags. The crags are more interesting. Yep. I will roll the dice. I lose my turn. But frankly, that's better than getting attacked by a spirit with 4 craft. I'd probably get my ass handed to me. But as I was saying, combat works via either your strength or your craft. And you fight monsters that have a particular amount of strength, and if you can roll the dice and add the dice to your character, add the dice to your character's strength and beat your opponent who has to do the same thing, you win, basically. There are a couple of things like you can get items, they'll make you stronger. You can put debuffs on the enemy. So, for example, the ninja. The ninja is one of the best combat characters in this game because if he fights anything, he can take... Well, if he fights anything with strength, that is. He can take them down via the poor ogre chieftain. He can take them down via using a secret strike, which means he can take 3 strength off them, or he can evade combat entirely, which is fantastic for him, because that means he can just avoid anything he can't beat, for the most part anyway. You can't avoid other characters attacking you, and you can attack other characters by landing on the same space as them, and if you beat the characters, you can either choose to take their life, and everybody has a certain amount of lives with just the green number, or you can take their items or take their gold, which is pretty good, because if you want to take someone, say, their talisman, so they can't get to the Crown of Command, and if you can land on them, well, you can do that, and if you can beat them, you can do that. And every character has different base strength, craft, and gold. Not gold, sorry, lives, which means that every character can play slightly differently, and coming across different characters all having different abilities is very entertaining indeed, just because of how many different fucking things can happen in one fucking round. That's because the entire game is fucking luck-based. I'm gonna have to say that right here and right now, but yes, the entire game is luck-based. It is so intensely luck-based. I'm gonna go with the Wheel of Fate. Let's see what the Wheel of Fate has for me. So let's roll and see if I can get my fate. Yay, I gained a fate! That's great. We'll talk about what fate is shortly, but the entire game is luck-based. What you get out of the adventure deck is luck-based. What you can get from most of the events is luck-based, because you have to roll dice. It's all luck-based. You can get fucked just as easily as you can win. It is ridiculous sometimes. Like, I've been screwed over 3 times in a row. I was intensely powerful. Every character decided to just bear down on me, and I was basically left with nothing. It's kind of depressing, actually. Oh, and before I forget, so when you die in combat, you will lose. I'm gonna just move over here because the Pathfinder will let me move anywhere I want to next turn, which is good. And since I've only moved 1, I get to roll the dice for the Reaper, and now I can move the Reaper. And if I make him land on someone, they have to visit the Reaper, which is good. Except if it's me, then it's bad. But yes, you run out of lives, you die, and you come back with a different character, you drop all your items and stuff like that. It's very, very hard to come back from that if everybody's already ahead. But yeah, as I was saying, this game's basically luck-based. My other game, which I'll happily show you shortly, is something along the lines of a curb stomp for one of the AI right now, because they're like 999. It's going to be extremely hard to take them down. Unless you can get the Grim Reaper to land on them, have them roll a 1, and have them have no fate to re-roll. So, fate is the purple number that you can see on the Illusionist right now. And that purple number is basically how many times you can re-roll a die. Every time you roll a die, you can re-roll the die once if you spend a fate. And if you don't have any fate, obviously you can't do that, and you can only re-roll dice once. So, if you want to re-roll to get a different result, you can, but fate is obviously very limited, so you want to be very careful in picking how you use it. Which means the game's just even more luck-based, because, yeah, I was fighting something, I rolled a 2, and then I used fate and re-rolled a 1. It can happen, and I just rolled a 1 again, which is actually very good for me, because that means I get to move the Grim Reaper. And I get to actually fight something now. Thankfully it's only a one spirit thing. So I just need to roll, like, yeah, I'm good. If it rolled any higher, it would have been a standoff, but I get to kill that now. I get to take its body as a trophy. I get to draw a spell. Cast on yourself when you're about to engage in battle, and add the result to your thing. That's very good, actually. That's a good card. But yeah, you take their bodies as trophies, and not only can you use them for things like Warlock quests and stuff like that, so you can get your Talisman. You can also trade them in once you get 7 or more, so that if that ninja is to beat that dragon there, he can immediately trade that in for a strength point. So that's how you get stronger in this game. You beat monsters and you trade in the trophies, and as you can see, he's gone up from 8 to 10. That's very, very bad. A ninja with 10 strength, he's basically unbeatable in physical combat. That's really unfortunate. He needs to die. Which is why I'd like to get the Grim Reaper over to him, but the Grim Reaper doesn't move that much. So yeah, the game's entirely luck-based. You can get really good items and have them taken away in a thing. You can have 9 lives and have the Grim Reaper land on you and just, you know, fucking kill you. You can be turned into a toad, and if you get turned into a toad, which can happen fairly often in this game actually, if you get turned into a toad, you drop all your items and your followers, and someone else can come along and pick them up. In my other game, which is the Vampiress has something ridiculous. Like, the Vampiress has, what's the word? She has a bunch of followers that can help her carry a lot of items, and she has like 40-something items. She's unbeatable. Unless we somehow manage to get the Grim Reaper onto her, or she turns into a frog, then someone else can go along and pick everything up, and then we run into the exact same problem again. Which is, yeah, the luck really comes into it more often than not. There are a few other gameplay mechanics that I should be talking about, like there's potions that you can get. There's alignment, and alignment changes how how the game reacts to things. Like if you land on the graveyard when you're a good person, you lose a life, stuff like that, right? And sure, there's plenty of variety and stuff to go around, especially with the full expansions and stuff enabled, but there's... Right. Great, I have to miss a turn now. I'm actually going to pop out to the main menu and have a look at everything first, before I go to my next game. But yeah. The ninja's fighting the Sentinel, and he has completely whooped it. Thankfully, you don't get the Sentinel as a trophy, but he has moved into the inner layer. He has to get through that door in the bottom right of the middle area first, which means he has to get there and get a roll. But he's got 10 strength, and he needs to roll 2 dice, and he needs to get under his strength amount. So he will definitely make it into the middle if he can get there. But yeah. You may have noticed that the AI is acting relatively fast. Now, I can't actually... Oh, I can get into the options menu here. So if I turn the AI speed down here, just to 3 works, we can see just how slow the AI works normally. This would normally go way faster. You saw how fast it was going before. Playing the game in a speed like this is intensely slow, and you really need to consider playing it at max speed basically right away, because it will take hours to get through a game at this speed. Like, this game here that I've got is like an hour's worth of game time at maximum speed. You can also change the camera speed, but really that's not necessary. You can reset all the tutorials, and here are the house rules. We'll scroll through them slowly so that you can see what they all are. I do like playing with random character and random character selection, just so nobody can pick them, but just so nobody can pick their own characters. I like doing that, but yeah. As you can see, there's a bunch of different endings, and there's even sudden death, which it makes the game entirely different. The first player to reach the crown command wins. That's even more different. No more lives. You can even, you can turn that on or off, which is nice. Talisman Bloodbath, replacing quests, treasure rewards. No Grim Reaper, so you can turn off the Grim Reaper and have the Grim Reaper back, and there's the runestones. So yeah, you got a bunch of house rules there. Notably, the game doesn't actually include like a rule book. It kind of expects you to figure it all out on your own, which is kind of weird. You can see all the different controls here for getting through stuff, but you're going to have to use the touchscreen at some point. It's this weird combination of the two. I'm going to back out and go back to the main menu now and go and play the other game that we've got going, which is a fair bit more into it. Has a fair few different characters and all that. I'm playing as the ninja on this one. So yeah, let's resume this game here. I don't even remember what the hell I was up to or where we were in this game, but it's round 77, so yeah. As we can see, this board is a little bit more interesting. We've got all the expansions around the outside, so we can, I rolled a 4, so I have to I'm stuck in jail, so I have to just wait here. I might actually end up losing all my turns if I'm not lucky, but yeah. We've got all the expansions going on here. We've got the thing at the bottom left, which is, the Highland expansion, I think, which is, it's basically a gauntlet where if you get to the end and beat the thing at the end, which is like strength 8, you'll get a special thing for it. The top right, I honestly don't even remember what that is. I don't think I've even managed to get in there in this game. But yeah, you can get items and stuff in that too. All these expansions have their own, what are basically adventure decks. Like, you can see in the middle that there's a 269 card adventure deck right now. And that's what you draw from every time you land on a blank space. And the 3 expansions have their own cards and their own areas and stuff like that too. So, that's all there and that's all nice and all that. Can anyone see the immediate problem, however? The game is lagging like shit. Now, I think the game has too many cards loaded into the game at once, because we have a ridiculous amount of cards on the field and in the inventories. Like, there's Vampirus's inventory. Like, look at all the stuff she's carrying. Look at all that. She's got a ton of followers and stuff like that. And everybody else is fairly well decked out as well. So, you can see just how well everyone is going right now. And there's cards all over the frickin' place. Like, you can see, if I just make all of these go away by using the touchscreen, you can see that there's cards all over the floor in every one of the areas. There's enemies all over the place. It's just, it makes the game lag like crazy. At least I think this is what makes the game lag like crazy, because it doesn't lag very badly if you only use like the main board, which makes me think that all the cards on the ground in this particular game are making the game lag really badly, which kind of sucks because, well, the game's got online capabilities, obviously, right? So imagine playing through a 100-something round game with all the expansions turned on, and the game starts lagging like this. And you basically just have to wait for all of the characters to take their turns, and, just wait for the lag to settle down so that you can actually take your turn. Like, see how long it took for that card to get drawn from that deck there? It's a really bad optimization problem. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be this bad, because the game doesn't use that mode that the Vita has, where it's the only thing that can be running with, like, nothing else running in the background. So, if they chose to use that mode on the Vita, I don't think the lag would be this bad. Well, at least I don't think so. I might be wrong on that. I can't be entirely sure. But yeah, the lag in full games becomes almost unbearable. It seriously takes a really long time to get anything done once you're... Yay, I finally get to get out of the jail. Is that the end of my turn? Oh, I have to choose a card from the board and move it. Okay, so I'll choose that. Oh wait, I have to zoom in, don't I? No, I can just tap it. Select and use the card, hit continue, and encounter. And roll the dice. So yeah. He moves, he takes any players that are behind him with him. It's actually a neat mechanic, but yeah. Even with all this other stuff around the outside, it still makes the game really luck-based, which, to be fair, isn't that bad of a thing. I mean, when you compare this game to, like, most roguelikes, for example, or roguelites, or whatever you want to call, like, the games around this sort of thing that we... around that sort of thing that we have on the Vita, it doesn't really seem as bad as those games, just because, you know, generally with those games, a roll of the dice mean you can be really powerful, or really weak, or anything in between. But yeah, with the propensity to get absolutely destroyed in this game is just by luck, really. Like, the propensity to just get absolutely screwed by something you have no control over is really, really high. It happens and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, imagine that. The Grim Reaper decides to show up. Someone else rolls, like, press 5 to make him choose to visit another player instead. They make him visit you. You roll the dice. You roll a 1. You have no fate. You're fucked. I mean, imagine that. Like, that can happen. That literally can happen in one turn, and you have no way to avoid it. It really sucks. And, yeah. That's kind of the appeal, honestly. It's one of those sorts of games where you literally just roll the dice and see what happens. It's just, yeah, it can really screw you. It really can. Let's see. Demagogue. You may change your alignment at will. Nice. And I also have to do the madcap, which means I have to actually change my alignment by rolling the dice. So I am now evil, but I was evil before. And since I'm the ninja, I can't take any followers with me, so that doesn't have any effect on me anyway. So, okay, I can choose to either visit the Rogues Guild, or I can just, yeah, I'll hit this. I'll go here and I'll draw a card. So the Den of Thieves, you may pay 1 gold to take 1 object, but I do not have any gold. So there's nothing I can do. God damn it. So yeah, luck-based. Luck-based is the name of the day, and with these optimization problems, it means that the game takes a really long time to get through, which is really unfortunate. If they fix the optimization issues, I'd say that it's at least worth a look. And you do get both versions of this game by buying just like the Vita version as well, and they can play with each other. That is a thing. It's just the thing is this game costs 30 bucks. Now, there's a very good reason for that. The default version of this game is $15 on the Steam store, but it doesn't include any of the expansions. No expansions are included. You don't get the Grim Reaper. You don't get the 3 boards around the outside there. You don't get any of that. All you get is the main board, the normal game, and that's it. All the expansions after that cost like $5 each. And then you've got all the other extra characters, which are like $1 each. So, they charge a fair amount less in comparison to what you'd get on the Steam version. Except that I find it very hard to believe that 30 bucks is going to be a very good price to get people introduced to this whole thing. The only people who are going to buy this are probably people who know what Talisman is and like it. So, yeah. It's going to be a bit unfortunate for those people who don't know what this game is but don't want to drop 30 bucks on a whim to play it. I could imagine this game doing a lot better if it was like 10 bucks base and then like a 20 buck DLC pass that would get you all the ones they released with, and then we don't even know if they're going to release later expansions because there's still like 4 or 5 expansions to come to the PC version along with like a bunch of other extra characters. So, I don't know for sure whether or not that's actually going to happen or not. Let's go to the Royal Lane and draw a card. The City Watch. You may evade the City Watch instead of attacking them. But I would like to actually fight this thing, because I could use some extra strength. And I have the Secret Strike, and I have the Flail in this game. Which means I get to roll 2 dice against his 2 strength. So yeah, I attack him with 10, he attacks me with 5? 2. And I win. That's it. So yeah, I get that trophy. That's good for me. So yeah. It's really not a bad game if you know what you're getting into. If you know you're literally just going to be fucking about. I mean, if you know you're literally just going to be at the if you're going to be at the whim of the dice, if you know you're going to be doing that and you don't mind that, and hell, if you've got friends, like playing this game with friends on voice chat is brilliant. Like seriously, get a few friends together and have them yelling at each other. Don't you fucking dare steal my talisman, you prick, is I think one line I've heard before. Yeah, it's, if you play it with friends, it's absolutely fantastic. But still, I can't imagine getting 4 people to pick up a luck-based game for $30. At least without prior experience in Talisman, at the very, very least. It's just... yeah. If you know what you're doing, it's good, it's fun, and, you know, just try not to get too mad when you get fucked over by the AI or by just dice rolls in general, you know? These optimization problems, though, are a real problem. They really are. It's just, I mean, sure, if you've got the AI speed on 10, you can just, like, roll the dice and put the Vita down and be like, oh, I'll come back when it's done. But when you're trying to play online with other people, that will be a problem. That will really be a problem, especially since, I mean, you can tell when it's your turn and stuff like that. Oh, dear. Well, I have lots of gold. I wonder what I'm going to do with that. But, yeah, just fix the optimization. This is ported by Blitworks, by the way. You've done a few good ports for the Vita before. Fix the optimization. Maybe make it so that it's a high RAM Vita usage game. That might be the problem. It might not be. If it is, please try and fix the optimization, because playing this online would be a bloody nightmare. Other than that, though, I mean... it's the price. It's the price that really makes me think that I have no problem saying it's good. I have no problem saying I enjoy it. I have no problem saying I'd tell you to pick it up if you have the money spare and you know what you're getting into. But again, it's just that $30 is going to make it really hard to convince people to actually pick it up. I mean, sure, you can get it and play it on, like, the big TV with the PlayStation 4 version as well. It's just, yeah. I hope that the online scene picks up for this, because I could imagine the online scene being a very big part of this game's popularity. Now it's not my turn, it's just taking its time to decide. Maybe it's the, maybe it's the AI being relatively inefficient because all the stuff is down, because, you can see that the game works pretty damn well when it's not actually doing anything. Maybe it is the AI that's fucking up. That's interesting. Entirely possible. I can't say for sure. I'm not a programmer. Buy or sell spells. I can buy some items if I felt like it. Replenish fate up to my fate value. I should probably go and get some fate now I think about it. Remember, the goal is to get to the Crown of Command, or, you know, you could do a bunch of other things. Like, there are endings, like... there's one, that bottom left board, it's literally just get to the end and beat that enemy. Seriously, there's like 20-something endings, and I will show them off if I remember how to actually get to them. I don't think I can get to them while I'm in-game, which kind of sucks, but, yeah. I'll just let it go for now. Just the amount of characters, the amount of variety, and the amount of dice fuckery means that this game can turn out one of a million different ways, but at the same time, that dice fuckery also means that you might get screwed. That's basically what I think about this game. If they find a way to fix that optimization problem, if they find a way to fix that, I could thoroughly say that I would recommend this, although the $30 price tag is still a little bit much. Maybe, hopefully, they'll introduce the other expansions as, like, free downloadable updates? Possibly? If they do, then hell yes, this would be worth it, just because all the other expansions getting added on for free means that the game will just keep getting free content. And, I mean, who can argue with free content? Maybe also add a rulebook. Like, seriously, a rulebook would be fantastic. They do give you a bunch of tutorial prompts that teach you how to do stuff, but having a rulebook at hand would be great. Right, so the bitch is using a raft. Next turn, I take it. Right, so I have to only travel one space this turn? I'm not entirely sure what happened. Right, I have to tap the... I have to either tap the thing or tap the, Right. I will move this card, and I will counter it. And I will use my flail. Secret Strike, roll my dice. I got double ones, and I don't think it actually gets to add its strength to it because I rolled doubles. So yes, I get to continue and beat the ever-loving bejesus out of it, and I can trade my trophies in. So trade that and that. And I get an extra strength point. And I can lose that just as easily if I die. Or if someone uses a spell on me, or if anything like that happens. Anything like that can happen, anything like that probably will happen, because it's Talisman. That's basically how it works. I've noticed that the optimization issue, now that my mind's on it, I've noticed that the optimization can be fixed somewhat in single player by quitting out of the game, quitting the game entirely, like going back to the live area and dragging the thing down, and then going back into it. However, you can't do that in an online game, obviously. So, you know, hell, the game may well be fine online if you turn off all the AI. That's entirely possible. Or even just have, like, one AI player and have, like, 3 human players or something like that to keep the game not very complicated, basically. That's entirely possible, right? Entirely. So, you know, maybe it won't be a problem if you just play with human players. That's entirely possible, although it would be nice to still see a fix. I don't really have that much to say about the soundtrack or the presentation. I'd probably eventually just turn the sound off. Just because, you know, some of the sounds start to get really annoying. But, you know, not the worst thing in the world. And it does look pretty damn good. Everything's high res and all the art and all that looks great. So, you know, I've got no real argument with that. So I'm going to quit back to the menu and I'm going to show off what making a new game is like so I can show you all the endings and stuff like that. You've seen enough. It basically just continues on like that for hours. So, I mean, if you're looking for something that's really distracting, that'll do the trick. So, let's hit play. We'll go and make a new game. So you can have up to 6 AI players. So, hell, if you wanted to reduce the amount of lag, you can make it just up against 3 people. Or you can do anything like that. You can even select their characters. So you can select every character here. And seriously, there's a fuck ton of different characters. This is where you come to turn the expansions on or off. So you can see the Reaper, the Frostmarch, the Dungeon, the Highland, the City, the Sacred Portal, the Netherrealm. You can turn all them on or off. There's all your alternate rules. And if I just... I'm sorry, I've got to re-enable all the, all of this, and I have to turn off random characters and hit an ending. Because, no, actually, do I? Yeah, I have to turn on hidden endings. So, this is all the endings. Seriously, there are a ton of different ways you can play this game. So yeah, you have to beat the Eagle King. Battle Royale, Hand of Doom, the Gauntlet, the Hunt, Pandora's Box, Assassin's Guild, Merchant's Guild, Thieves Guild. There's a ton of ways to play this, and considering that you can literally hide the ending and then use most of these so you don't know what the hell's going on until you actually get to it, can really change the game up. And while it is random enough that it means that it doesn't really feel like that much, the amount of replayability that you can have is great. And yes, you can even play locally with up to 6 people. So, I mean, if you wanted to do pass and play, entirely possible. I do like Talisman, I really do. I think $30 is a little too much for it, and I think that the optimization needs to be fixed with what's either the too many cards on the field or the AI being relatively slow. If they can fix the optimization, I would recommend this outright. I really would. I do have fun with it, and if you know what you're getting into, it's great. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about it. So yeah, this has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.